Hello, good evening. Greetings from Hoi An we are in today. Last time I spoke to you was the other day. I was in Hoi. I just arrived. I was actually quite drunk when I did my last video, and I've also had a drink tonight. So yeah, seems to be a theme that's starting to occur, but I think they're funny when I've had a drink anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so since we last spoke, I slept over in Hoi, which turned out to be the noisiest hostel I've probably ever stayed in. To be honest, I was so tired that I completely fell asleep anyway straight away. Got up the next morning, had some breakfast, and headed out on the road. And I was really excited about the drive that we were doing, because it was the Hoi An Pass. So anyone that's seen the Top Gear Vietnam special will know it's kind of the main road, the road that they say is the best road over here, and it's a beautiful drive indeed. But you know, there are many beautiful roads in Vietnam, and that is just one of an awful lot of them. In the morning when we got up, we were travelling as a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was Padge and Connor from Ireland, myself, Vanessa from Germany, and Helen from Australia. And in the morning we got up, Padge wasn't feeling so great, so Padge, Connor and Helen decided they want to take the most direct route straight up the highway, over the Hoi An Pass and here to Hoi An where we are today. But me and Vanessa decided we would take the coastal road, the more scenic route. And to be fair, you know, me and Vanessa were both very competent riders, but me and Vanessa are probably like the least experienced when it comes to motorbikes. But it wasn't an issue. Vanessa guided us out of Hoi, and we got out of there really easily. But we took up on the coast road, and we started to go, and it was beautiful, really lovely. Very small road, lots of temples, and obviously everyone's still getting ready for Tet as well, which was fantastic. But then Vanessa's motorbike started to sort of wobble really violently from side to side, and turns out we were dogged or hit with our first problems of the trip, and Vanessa had a flat tyre, and we were kind of like, we were in a town, but we were on the outskirts of a town. But I said to Vanessa, well, I'll go back and try and find somewhere. She then started to push the bike back into town, and I found the mechanics. And this whole holiday, actually, the theme of this trip is kind of lost in translation. I've never felt as lost in translation as I have this trip. And I was trying to explain to this guy in the garage what I wanted, what I needed, the fact that the tyre was flat, and he kind of, I thought he understood, but he really didn't. He was like, no, you go away. So Vanessa finally arrived back with a bike. She pushed it into the garage, and yeah, he then immediately knew what we wanted, and he fixed it straight away. So Vanessa's had a problem this morning. What's wrong, Vanessa?
I got a flat tire.
Oh dear. So Vanessa's had to push her bike about half a kilometre. So it's going to be fixed. Not a problem. We're back on the road soon. So although we had a breakdown, it was fixed and we were on the way in no time at all. We finally took this coastal road for quite some time. Really lovely, really scenic. Went across a little island. We stopped and had some pictures. We got to this one point actually, and there was this viewpoint out over these rice paddy fields, and they were pumping Schlager music, like Vietnamese Schlager music, the weirdest thing ever. Vanessa was obviously in her element, being a German. Wanted to stay there a little bit longer than we actually did. We anyway managed to find our way back to the highway, got onto the Hoi An Pass, and it was stunning. It was really stunning. Wonderful sort of creeping, winding mountain pass. I went up and over this mountain. Our ears popped several times, and the funniest thing about it was that it's kind of halfway. We're now halfway down Vietnam. Now I'm here in Hoi An, and as you went over the top of the mountain, it really split the weather. So we were used to the really cold, gloomy, dark weather back in Hue, and as soon as we came over the mountain, the clouds broke. I can't even talk. The clouds broke, and the sun started to shine, and it was just beautiful. We made our way down this really lovely mountain pass. Finally made it back onto the highway. We took a left turn. We went out along the coastal road from Da Nang, and arrived here last night in Hoi An, staying at DK's house, which is the same hostel chain as the one I stayed in Hue and the one I stayed in Hoi An. And we arrived here, well, couldn't be a better time really, let's face it. It's Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year, when we arrived, or Tet as the Vietnamese call it. And we arrived here, and there was a big party, a big celebration in town last night. We went into the city centre, which is where I am now. I'm just going to spin round. Not the best light on myself, but if we look down the river here, you can see just in the distance, this is kind of the town down here, winding along this river. And Hoi An's a really interesting place actually. Back about 700 years ago, it was a really important trading port. So traders from around the world would have come here, from Europe, from Japan, from China, and about 300 years ago the water level sunk, or dropped I should say, here, and it rendered the port useless. So whereas the nearby town of Da Nang, where the port was now moved to, Hoi An on the other hand was kind of stranded, it was kind of stuck. But what it means is it's been kind of left and it's as it was, and there's these beautiful buildings. The Japanese bridge is 700 years old here and still perfectly preserved. So that's where we arrived yesterday, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the third UNESCO World Heritage Site that I visited on this trip. And we came down here to where we are now, down the river, and it was mad. It was absolutely crazy. There's a beautiful bridge here. It was a buzz. There must have been, I would estimate, around 30,000 people in this really small area of the city, and we managed to find a space on the river. We had a few beers, we sat and we watched the fireworks, and I have to say, the fireworks that we saw, without doubt, hands down, the best fireworks I've ever seen in my entire life. They were absolutely spectacular. The show went on for around 20 minutes and there was just a really lovely atmosphere. Everyone was out, everyone was partying. Once the party had ended down here on the river, we then headed back into town. We went to a bar called One Love Bar, and on the walk back there was just people out, again, as I'd said about in Hanoi, burning stuff outside on the street. It's exactly what people were doing here, and it seemed like every shop, every household, every home were outside burning. Everyone was wishing everyone a Happy New Year in Vietnamese. I did know what it is, but I've forgotten it now, unfortunately. Chok Mong Moi Mien. I think that's it. It's probably way off, but I think that's what it was. So we went back, we had a drink, we went back to the hostel, and today we got up, had some drinks, and we went for a cycling tour. The hostel that we're staying at is running a free cycling tour, so we cycled down through the town here, all around inside the town. We pointed out all of the, they pointed out all of the main sort of spots and the things that there are to see. It was absolutely beautiful, stunning. We then rode out of town through the countryside and we arrived at the beach. We sat at the beach, we had some coffees, it was lovely, everyone was really happy. But then it rained again. Rain seems to be the theme of this holiday. It's the one thing that's really following me around, bad weather and rain, because the weather here in Hoi An was meant to now be around 28. It's not, as you can see I'm wearing a jacket. It's about sort of 18 degrees, but still really relatively nice. After the bike ride we came back into town, and Hoi An is famed for having tailors, lots and lots of tailors. I believe the quote is more tailors per capita than anywhere else in the world, so I thought what better thing to do than go and buy a suit, and we went to the nicest tailors in town, a tailor's called BB, and got measured up for a suit. So I managed to get a suit organised. I'm going to go for a fitting on Wednesday, but they're making it for me, a lovely sort of pale blue suit with bright pink lining. I'm having a jacket, a waistcoat, trousers, and also shorts as well. I thought it'd be lovely to wear in the summer with shorts. So that was what we did this afternoon. We went back to the hostel, we've had a few drinks. Michelle, who I've been speaking about quite a lot on this trip, who joined me in Hanoi, was where I met her. She leaves tomorrow, she is off to Ho Chi Minh City, she's flying there, and then she's going through to Cambodia, and I'm not going to see her again on this trip. So we're just having our farewell meal. The weather's beautiful, I couldn't be happier. You know, Vietnam is a really incredible place. The people are so hospitable, and it's a lot of fun. I've got 2 more nights after tonight here in Hoi An, and then I'm getting back on the motorbike. But that's all for this evening. I hope you are having a lovely time, whatever you're doing. It is Monday night at around 8 PM here in Hoi An. So I'm going to sign off. Take care, have a great day, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.